One passport was never enough for these players. They had two nations calling, and they had to choose. This is the story of the biggest stars at the 2026 World Cup who turned their backs on the country many expected them to play for. Take Folarin Balogun. Born in Brooklyn, raised in London, and developed through England's youth system, he looked destined to wear the three lions one day. But Balogun held American citizenship from birth, and since he had only played for England at youth level, FIFA allowed him to switch. In 2023, he committed to the United States, and he has since become one of the US MNT's most important attackers, a player England may end up regretting they never gave a senior chance. Then there's Yasin Ayari, whose father is Tunisian, but who chose to represent Sweden instead. His own father backed the decision publicly, saying he wanted his son to give back to the country that raised him. When Sweden beat Tunisia 5-1 at the World Cup, Ayari scored twice, but he refused to celebrate out of respect for his father's homeland, turning a football result into a deeply personal moment. Ayyoub Bouaddi made headlines by switching from France to Morocco just weeks before the tournament kicked off. At only 18 years old, he walked away from the French system that trained him and chose to represent his family's roots instead, becoming one of Morocco's most talked about young talents almost overnight. Michael Olise is another case that stings for England. Born and raised in London, he was on the Football Association's radar for years. But Olise chose France, his mother's birth country, and has become a key part of the French attack. Yet another homegrown talent that slipped through England's fingers. Achraf Hakimi's story might be the most dramatic of them all. Born in Madrid and raised through the Real Madrid Academy, he was practically Spanish by every measure except blood. Instead, he chose Morocco, and that single decision helped rewrite African football history, powering Morocco's historic run to a World Cup semi-final. Jamal Musiala's journey is almost identical in reverse. Born in Germany but raised in England, he came through England's youth ranks, and many assumed he'd stay there. Instead, he chose to represent Germany, and he's now one of the brightest faces of the national team's new generation. Few people even remember that Kevin De Bruyne was eligible to play for Burundi through his mother's side. He chose Belgium instead, and went on to become the captain and heartbeat of the golden generation that put Belgian football back on the map. And then there's Kylian Mbappé, whose father was born in Cameroon, meaning Cameroon was technically an option for him too. Instead, Mbappé chose France, lifted the World Cup with them in 2018, and remains their biggest weapon heading into the 2026 tournament. These weren't just football decisions. They were choices about identity, family, and opportunity. And each one changed the shape of the World Cup we're watching today. If you enjoyed this breakdown, let us know in the comments which switch surprised you the most.